Shirley Jones's story began far from spotlights and studio lots, in the quiet town of Charleroi, Pennsylvania, where her love for movies grew inside a small neighborhood theater. Born in 1934, Shirley was a shy but gifted child whose remarkable singing voice stood out early. By the age of 12, teachers recognized that her talent needed serious guidance, and she was enrolled at the Pittsburgh Playhouse. There she studied voice, acting, and dance, unknowingly preparing for a future that would change her life forever. Shirley did not grow up dreaming of fame as much as she dreamed of performing well and honoring her craft. That humility followed her into adulthood. When she was cast as Lori Williams in the 1955 film version of Oklahoma, she was only 21, yet she carried herself with a maturity well beyond her years. Her performance introduced America to a new kind of leading lady, warm, sincere, and effortlessly radiant. Hollywood stardom and a rare musical legacy, the success of Oklahoma, launched Shirley Jones into an extraordinary career almost overnight. She became the only performer ever to be placed under a personal contract by Rodgers and Hammerstein, a testament to both her talent and her professionalism. Over the next few years, she starred in classic musical films such as Carousel and The Music Man, balancing innocence with emotional depth. In 1960, her dramatic turn in Elmer Gantry earned her an Academy Award, proving she was far more than a musical ingenue. Shirley's rise was steady, graceful, and widely admired. Audiences trusted her, critics respected her, and studios valued her reliability. Yet fame arrived quickly, and with it came intense pressure. She was young, newly successful, and navigating an industry that rarely slowed down for personal reflection. It was during this whirlwind period, when her professional life felt charmed and unstoppable, that she encountered a man whose presence would profoundly shape her emotional world. Meeting Jack Cassidy, charm, confidence, and promise. Jack Cassidy entered Shirley Jones's life during rehearsals for a European tour of Oklahoma in 1955. He was older, confident, and already well known on Broadway for his charisma and theatrical skill. From their first interaction, Jack carried himself with a bold assurance that was impossible to ignore. Shirley later described him as magnetic, a man who seemed to command attention simply by entering a room. Despite his charm, Shirley was cautious. She had been raised with traditional values and was not easily swept away by good looks alone. Still, Jack's wit and intensity intrigued her. During the tour, he invited her to dinner in Paris, introducing her to experiences she had never known. Before the evening ended, Jack confidently told her that he intended to marry her. Shirley reminded him that he was already married at the time, but he remained unwavering. What felt romantic in the moment would later reveal itself as complicated, setting the stage for a relationship full of passion and conflict. Marriage, motherhood, and early strains. In 1956, Jack Cassidy followed through on his promise. After divorcing his first wife, he married Shirley Jones, who was only 22 years old. Almost immediately, Shirley stepped into multiple roles: wife, rising star, and stepmother to Jack's young son, David. To the public, their marriage appeared glamorous and full of promise. Behind closed doors, however, the realities of blending families and balancing careers began to create strain. Shirley's film career continued to rise, while Jack struggled with feeling overshadowed. Though accomplished in his own right, he found it difficult to accept that his wife's fame had surpassed his. Shirley worked tirelessly, believing that love and patience could steady their marriage. She focused on creating a stable home and supporting Jack's ambitions. Yet emotional distance slowly crept in, and the imbalance between their public image and private reality became harder to ignore as the years passed. Love, insecurity, and silent endurance. As the 1960s unfolded, Shirley Jones maintained her image as one of Hollywood's most beloved performers. Privately, her marriage grew more challenging. Jack thrived on attention and admiration, while Shirley longed for emotional security and trust. Over time, his restlessness created deep wounds. Shirley later explained that she often chose silence over confrontation, believing that preserving family unity mattered more than public truth. She raised their 3 sons with care and dedication, determined to shield them from adult conflicts. While Shirley continued to smile for cameras, the emotional cost of enduring constant uncertainty weighed heavily on her. Friends later recalled her as kind and generous, but often tired. Still, she remained committed, hoping stability would eventually follow. Her strength during these years was quiet and rarely acknowledged. Shirley's endurance reflected Generation of women who were taught that loyalty meant staying, even when staying required sacrificing pieces of oneself. The Partridge Family and public irony. By 1970, Shirley Jones reached a new level of fame when she starred in The Partridge Family, portraying a warm, supportive mother leading her children through life and music. The show became a cultural phenomenon, making Shirley a symbol of stability for millions of viewers. Ironically, her on-screen role contrasted sharply with her private struggles. While audiences embraced her as America's ideal mom, Shirley continued managing the emotional complexity of her marriage. She also navigated a delicate family dynamic, as her stepson David Cassidy became a teen idol through the same series. Shirley worked hard to maintain harmony, both professionally and personally. Despite the pressures, she remained gracious and protective of those around her. The public never saw the exhaustion behind her smile, yet Shirley never used her pain as bitterness. Instead, she poured her energy into her work and children, demonstrating resilience even when her personal life felt fragile and uncertain. The decision to let go. By the mid-1970s, Shirley Jones recognized that her marriage had reached a breaking point. After nearly 2 decades, she made the difficult decision to divorce Jack Cassidy in 1974. It was not a choice rooted in anger, but in emotional survival. Shirley later admitted that ending the marriage was one of the hardest decisions she ever made. Despite everything, she still loved Jack deeply. Following the divorce, she focused on her children and rebuilding a sense of peace. Though separated, Jack remained part of her life through phone calls and shared history. When his life ended suddenly in a tragic accident in 1976, Shirley was devastated. Grief blended with regret, leaving questions that could never be answered. She mourned not only the man Jack was, but also the future she once believed they might share. His death marked the end of a chapter that never fully closed, finding stability in a second marriage. In 1977, Shirley Jones remarried, this time to comedian Marty Ingalls. Their relationship was markedly different, less dramatic, more grounded, and built on companionship rather than intensity. Marty brought steadiness and humor into Shirley's life, qualities she had long needed. Though their personalities sometimes clashed, they shared loyalty and mutual respect. Shirley later described their marriage as unconventional but enduring. Together, they navigated life away from constant emotional upheaval. Marty supported Shirley without competition, allowing her to exist without fear of being overshadowed or diminished. Their marriage lasted nearly 40 years, until Marty's passing in 2015. While Shirley acknowledged that her first marriage had left lasting emotional marks, she also recognized the healing that came from stability. Marty represented safety and commitment, something Shirley had longed for during her earlier years but had never fully known until later in life, speaking the truth on her own terms. For decades, Shirley Jones chose privacy over public disclosure. She protected her family, her children, and the memory of her first marriage by keeping painful truths to herself. Only later in life did she feel ready to speak openly. In her memoir and interviews, Shirley reflected honestly on the emotional challenges she endured, emphasizing that her silence had been a choice rooted in love and responsibility. She did not speak to assign blame, but to reclaim her own story. By sharing her experiences, she offered insight into the complexities of love, loyalty, and self-worth. Shirley's reflections were measured and compassionate, acknowledging both the joy and pain of her past. In doing so, she allowed audiences to see her not only as a star, but as a woman who lived fully, loved deeply, and grew wiser with time. Legacy, reflection, and quiet strength. In her later years, Shirley Jones became a symbol of grace earned through experience. Her story resonated not because it was perfect, but because it was honest. She embodied the idea that strength can exist alongside vulnerability, and that truth does not always need to be told immediately to be valid. Shirley's legacy extends beyond her films and awards. It lives in her resilience, her devotion to family, and her willingness to reflect without bitterness. By waiting until later in life to speak openly, she reclaimed control over her narrative. Whether one believes she should have spoken sooner or later, her decision was hers alone. Shirley Jones showed that sometimes survival requires silence, and healing requires time. Her story remains a powerful reminder that behind every public smile is a private journey, and that courage often reveals itself quietly over a lifetime.